Very sorry for the inconvenience. So, like I was saying, people are invited to introduce themselves in the chat and also ask questions. You can the question can be direct to someone specifically or just ask a general question. So our panel today is very gendered. I would say that. I will give the floor. I will introduce the first speakers. Ahmed. So Ahmed Dongonke is a gender expert, design program coordinator, and current Secretary General of WIF Cameroon. She started working in the civil society in 2004 and has held various positions, including program officer, security policy officer, and since 2017, disarmament program coordinator. I hope Ahmed is with us. I don't know. Are you getting me? Am I audible? Hello, Ahmed, are you there?
Hi, Eve. Hi, everyone. I hope you are here. You are getting me. You are facing some
Yes.
internet challenges, but I hope everything will be okay. Yes, Eve just said I'm Amen Dongo. I'm the Secretary General of WIF Cameroon. I've been working in the civil society for long. Today, I hope we are going to share some experience of the work we have been doing so far um, as a civil society actor. I'm delighted to attend this webinar and hope it will be fruitful. Thank this opportunity given to me to talk about the project we have been carrying so far, uh, social cohesion on youth to prevent hate speech and political violence. We have been working since September 2033. And the aim of the project was to involve youth and youth as the key actor in the peacekeeping process in Cameroon. You know that 2024-25 is going to be a critical year in Cameroon. And since 2013-16, Cameroon has been involved in a series of crises. And the apogee of this crisis was in 2018, yes, before the presidential election. And we were facing a new type of conflict. We were characterized by the increasing of hate speech. And from there to till today, community are struggling, people are fighting, people who before used to live together are today fighting because today the increase of hate speech made people realize that they were different. I will say it like that because in Cameroon has more than 252 languages. Yes. And we used to live together like that without knowing our differences. But from that time, from the rising of hate speech in Cameroon, people realized that they weren't from the same tribe, and this create a sense of conflict. And apart from that, as a country involved in a political issue less than 1 year, even politicians, why normal citizens were involved in a war using hate speech, even politicians were involved in that. So we decide through the founding of the UN Democratic Fund, we received a grant for them. And the aim of the grant was to train youth on hate speech, to make them be aware of the danger of the hate speech, and to engage them not more as the perpetrator of hate violence, but those who are going to use social media to build peace, to build a sustainable peace. Those who are going to use the long time, because in 2018, we were trained by Uma Mishra, yes. She was, then we come, yeah. She trained us, she came to Cameroon and trained us on the use of social media to build peace. And during the discussion, we realized that youth spend more than 5 hours per day on social media. And what commitment took from that training was that youth which commit themselves to use 1 hour of their time on the social media to go through to identify messages which can create a conflict or violence and oppose to those in such messages, peace messages. So that was one of the side of the project in depth. And the other one was to train political actors on on the electoral process. And this training was carried in 5 regions in Cameroon. We trained more than 300 youth, who are today peace ambassadors. Their mandate is to act as peace builder and as peacemaker. A WhatsApp group was created, and every day they share messages, peace messages. They go on social media, they glance, they do what they check, yes, they check every day. When they identify a hate messages, they share peaceful messages, and they do a sort of sensitization on social media. Yeah, they do sort of sensitization on social media, and even in their community, because they were trained in North, Far North. Last week, Guy and Tim were in the Far North. They were there to train political actors and actors, youth, and even and teachers, because and the training, the project, the at the end, one of the outcome of the project was the elaboration of 2 guides, political guides, yes, and political guide is for political actor, to train political actor on how they can be involved in building peace before, during, and after the electoral process. And the educative manual is at the attention of trainers, teachers. Teachers were trained on the use of the educational guide, a tool which is going to be used in all the region of Cameroon by the teachers, so that the majority, a huge number of children in the country will be aware on their responsibility as peace builder in our society. Okay. Today, many youths have been trained in the use of this manual. So we feel satisfied, because our youth commit themselves to be peace ambassador. And one thing they did last month, they did, because our youth, they are each youth is commit himself to produce 1 peace messages each day on social media. And the main campaign they did last month was on to sensitize people to register on electoral list, because the last day was the 31st of August, and they realized they succeed in gathering the majority of people to register on electoral list. And they open a challenge, because we are in our country, we have what we call influencer. Yes, influencer, most of them are stars, they are producers, they are footballers, but they open their own challenge, and they say the aim of their challenge was to identify the youth who is going to mobilize the most people to register on electoral list. Because in our country, many people say, no, we are not more interested in interested in politics, because no matter what we are going to do, it will not change the issue of the vote. But they were aware of the fact that they have a great responsibility. They are the majority of the population, yes, and for that they have the responsibility to gather the most people as possible to register on electoral list. So this is what the youth were were committed to do. And as far as politicians, even them, they commit themselves to use the manual produced to promote peace. And they are aware of the fact that they, as political actors, they have to respect the the the, the electoral process. Participating in an electoral process is good, but accept the result of the electoral process is also a sign of humility, a sign of citizenship. So politicians too are now commit to use this tool to build peace. So these are some facts, some concrete action we have been able to do thanks to the these are these are some action we are able to carry out thanks to the UNICEF project.
I don't know if you are getting me now. To Samuel. Samuel is a passionate, sorry for so Samuel is a passionate, positive, and self-motivated Cameroonian with multiple awards winning Global Peace Ambassador, youth empowerment and community development leaders with 9 years experience in coordinating youth development programs, advocating and engaging youth participation at policy levels on development issues. He is the founder and executive director of Youth Advocates for Peace and Community Empowerment Cameroon, in abbreviated YAPSEC, director of Peace Academy Cameroon. He serves as Cameroon National Youth State Delegate to the Commonwealth Youth Council under the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Civic Education and the Commonwealth Department of Ministry of External Relations of the Republic of Cameroon since 2018. So, Samuel, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you can hear me, huh?
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, that's fine. I want to start by thanking Mr. Guy and the entire team. Okay, so I want to start by appreciating Mr. Guy from World Beyond War and the entire team for making it possible for us to have this conversation today. And also the participants who are all here present, almost 17 and above, which shows very encouraging engagement. And to my fellow speakers, I want to appreciate you all for being present for this call. So straight, I would like to move to my conversation this afternoon, which is more about looking at, the challenges and opportunities that, youth actually do face, in cultivating the culture of peace. So, we're in a very challenging time where globally we've had issues which we all know, ranging from insecurity, political violence, unemployment, and so on. All of this has really greatly contributed in one way or the other to personal peace, and also youth engagement to peace. So the first point I would like to mention here that serve as a challenge to youth in cultivating the culture of peace is the issue of poor governance. Poor governance has been a major issue, within our communities, especially in Cameroon and across Africa and other parts of the world. Wherever the leadership or the governance is not, what the citizens, try the youth expect to see in terms of public transformation, development, ranging from economy to social. It kind of keep them worried, to fully engage in national, regional, and community development issues because they themselves, are still wanting, to be comfortable. So issue of poor governance serve as major challenge, for young people to effectively cultivate that culture of peace. The next point I want to also note is the issue of insecurity. Insecurity has been a major issue to youth stability in terms of mind, adjustment to their goal and objectives. When the environment is not enabling, young people, youth especially, cannot fully, commit to peace because they are at that point trying to survive and find a way to be alive using different ways and different approach. So you realize that insecurity is something which keep the youth very worried to focus in cultivating the culture of peace. So that's the second point. Insecurity is something which, when we talk about insecurity, when you cannot move freely, you experience harassment, you are not sure about your safety when you go out and come back, and your properties, yourself, and so on. It keeps you on a worry at all the time. So it becomes a major issue. Another point I want to highlight is the issue of poverty and hunger. Poverty and hunger, these are the first and second goal, of the United Nations SDGs, goal 1 and 2. No poverty and zero hunger. So it remains a major challenge, when you move to big cities, like last time I was in Yaoundé, you see people, really looking forward to get something to eat. Some young people even want to go to stealing, yeah. So when there's no food, people don't have access to food, especially young people, and they're hungry. You can't talk about having the culture of peace. So poverty and hunger is something that's the reason why the UN itself put it as an issue which is at a global level that affect even micro levels communities. So we need to take that very serious to boost our agricultural sector, a lot of other things, to ensure we have sufficient food supply and people are able to have quality meal and so on. So that's an issue. The fourth point I want to also mention as a challenge is unemployment. There's no country that will ever employ everyone, no government, but yet unemployment remains an issue. It could be underemployment and overemployment, if I don't make a mistake. So we look at it at different levels, and total unemployment as well. So it remains a major challenge where young people go to school. After having degrees, undergraduate, they call it BSc, MSc, PhD, and they are not able to match up what they have learned, in school with reality of life, in terms of meeting up with standards, living the life they wish. And we cannot talk about they being able to cultivate a culture of peace. So unemployment serves as a major challenge to young people, to focus on peace issues. So something we need to note, which might be doing solution. I'll be giving some feedback on that. Next point I want to also show us is the issue of inadequate access to information and training. Now, with inadequate access to information and training, is a challenge. Why? We have the issue of not all the young people have the modern Android phone that we have today. We are communicating. So young people are in remote areas, some are in the cities, but since they don't have employment, they don't have money, maybe due to insecurity, governance, and so on, they cannot purchase it. Internet is costly these days, every time I'm using more or less 8,000 francs every day for internet. So you can imagine I'm spending at least 30,000 francs or 25,000 minimum for internet if not everybody can afford that. So you see, they don't have access to information and training capacity building programs, to enhance their skill, competence, and so on. So it can be a major challenge for them to contribute. So it's something which you need to also work at. Most sometimes the internet connection itself is very weak, challenging, and so on. The next point also is stiff access to development opportunities. When I call stiff, kind of like difficult. This come in terms of bureaucracy, administrative bottlenecks, when all of these factors are there, it limits young people to fully, explore, what they wish for themselves. You have a dream, you want to do something, you go to an office, maybe they ask you money they cannot afford, or, your file is being, kept for a reason you don't know. So all of this, makes you not to get the access you want. Imagine you want to travel abroad, you want to go for this concours or whatever, and their file is not treated on time. You cannot say you're continuing to piece. So it's something which, we need to also consider. And the last point I want to also share here is about the issue of traditional religious prejudice. We can put another way, consideration or preference. We live in a multicultural world today where diversity exists, and if we are not ready to embrace our similarities and accept our differences, it becomes challenging, for young people to move forward. It's very important to note that, we have Islam, the Christian, the Buddhist, and so on. So it remains a major challenge for young people to embrace this reality that we are in a diverse world and we need to tolerate, understand, for us to forge forward. So that's the brief I can share. The list goes long, but due to time constraint, I will limit at that level. I'm sure the participants who have been taking notes of those major issues that serve as challenge. So I'll go straight to the point now to some opportunities. One of the last challenge I want to even mention again is the issue of hate speech. Hate speech has also been an issue which we must note, across, I'm this, you are that, and so on. So I'm a francophone to an anglophone, and so on. So sometimes it affects the peace building process, Yeah, so as I said, now to look more into the opportunities, that young people have to cultivate the culture of peace. The first is that access to information. We're in the 21st century. Those born after 2000, they call it the Gen Z, you realize that now you can have every information you want on the internet. You can just do your research and so on and so forth, and you get information that can empower you, can bring you closer to your desired destination of opportunities and so on. Next thing is access to the community. Today we have a big community, the global community, as they always say. It means you can have influence, impact beyond Cameroon, beyond your village, so long as you are connected. So even in your community, that is also access, because you can move freely, meet people, to share your dream, your idea, your project, to empower people, to learn from them. So the first thing, you have information. Second, have access to the people. That is a community. It could be virtually or physically. The third point is the free will to be innovative, creative, or inventive. Young people have the free will. 9 years ago, I decided to also be innovative or creative, sorry. I came up with YAPSEC, which is what has been able to bring a lot of transformation to lives across Cameroon and beyond. So I was daring, So we have the free will as young people to invent, innovate, or create, bring difference to our community. So that's an opportunity we have. If you are not thinking beyond yourself, then you should blame yourself as a young person, The next point is availability of capacity building training opportunities. If you are a smart young person, you should be able to see on status on Facebook or LinkedIn. I can see some participants here that follow this opportunity I shared on LinkedIn, on my status on different groups, which I'm happy for them. So you don't blame yourself, people. You blame yourself if you are not making use of, the capacity building programs that are out there. Sometimes you have to sacrifice, you pay to get this knowledge. Sometimes you volunteer to have access to them. Sometimes you can have free access, like, this kind of webinar or Zoom meeting. So it's an opportunity for us young people. We must grab that, Then we have mentorship. we have mentorship and a role model following. As young people today, I mean, some people you admire from the United States, they are now closer to you, with the advent of the social media, internet connection, and even in Cameroon, sometimes we used to admire people overseas, but some of us who have gone there, we have come back. So, if you are thinking that you have to meet, be close to Nelson Mandela, who is of late, we can have people also who are also following the kind of line that the way he was living, and they are in Cameroon. So why don't you draw inspiration from them? Why don't you approach them, explore the possibility to know them and get to have the secrets of their growth? How did they overcome challenges? There are a lot of role models. You have to follow those who are doing the things that aligns with what you want to do or how you want to become. Find a way to take their trainings. If they have courses, take their courses. If they have books, buy their books. If they have trainings, attend their trainings. I train a lot of young people, some with PhD, some are older than you. You have to learn. Keep learning and connecting. Be close to people you admire so that they can show you the way. They already know what you don't yet know. So the more you're humble, the better for you, to have access to grow. So that's where I want to end, because other speakers will come on board. So I'll take again that you need to have mentorship and role model following. It's an opportunity today. We have models and and mentors that we can learn from them. Availability capacity building training programs are always there. You have to grab that as a young person who want to grow, to also contribute to peace building. You have the free will. You have to think, to create, innovate, and invent new solution to problems around. You don't wait for people to only bring solution. You can also create one, for yourself. Access to the community. This is a community. After this, you are able to make new friends. You can say, oh, Makazi, my friend, Nego Zalim from Yaoundé, I'm proud of you being here. So you want to make new friends. Every day I receive friends on LinkedIn, and on different social media handles. So just be valuable and keep connecting. So access to information and so on. So dear friends, I will end here just to let you know that, to become who you want to be, you must sacrifice your time, energy, and resources. You have to ignore people who are going to, talk you down, discourage you, will not support you. Don't worry. Find a way to save. On that note, I want to end by saying that believe in yourself, give time to yourself, and keep connecting. Certainly you achieve your objective. Thank you once more, dear friends. I'll end here. If there's a question, I'll respond to that later on probably. Or now, I don't know, the moderator will permit me.
Okay, Samuel, thank you so much. You just gave your presentation on the opportunities and challenges on the road toward the culture of peace. Now I will introduce the third speaker, Mr. Louis Makazi. So Louis Makazi is a dedicated student and entrepreneur with a strong background in international relations. He has successfully established and managed several businesses and projects, demonstrating his entrepreneurial spirit and leadership skills. Currently, Louis is furthering his education by he aims to apply his knowledge to address complex global challenges. So, Louis, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Years. Greetings to everyone, and it's a privilege to be here today. I'd like to extend my gratitude to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to speak on something critical to our future. The importance of conflict prevention cannot really be overemphasized, as we live in a global village. The world has become so interconnected, and it's a global village where we find ourselves, where conflict in one region can easily move to another part or to another situation. So I'll be presenting on the importance of conflict prevention. First, I would just like to give a little definition. Because if you want to prevent conflict, then we need to know what conflict is all about and how to prevent it. So in a very simple way, conflict is a disagreement between two or more parties. And this can be over political or economic resources, where one person is deprived or restricted from achieving their goals or incompatible goals. And this can actually lead to anger, frustration, actions, and reactions. And when such happens, it's easy to find ourselves in the conflict situation. And therefore, it is very important if we can prevent this from happening. Because when these actions take place, like we can see in our country, where we have been in a conflict situation since 2016. So conflict prevention has to do with a range of proactive measures that are aimed at preventing these disputes or tensions from escalating. We usually say in our conflict class that you cannot really solve all the conflict, but you can come to a compromise, or there can be a resolution that the society can actually be in peace. When we say the society is in peace, does not necessarily means there is no gunshot, there is no this, then that's when the society is at peace. There is what one of the famous peace writers, Joan Galton, says. He calls it social conflict or structural violence. When there is structural violence, it means there is conflict that you cannot see the guns flying, but you find people at different levels, just like the previous speaker said, that we have a lot of hate speech and so on. And so these are structural violence, people not being employed, people not having what to eat. It brings structural violence. And in our society, in our community, we need to see how this can be prevented so that we can actually live in this peace. So the fact that there is no war or there is no shooting, there is no fire and so on, doesn't mean that our society is really in peace. There are these small things that can be neglected, but which can actually erupt into conflict. So why is it important for conflict prevention to be done? We talk of humanitarian aspect. For example, in our crisis, if it had actually been prevented, we would discover that we wouldn't have had the lives we have lost so far. If we go by statistics, we hear that about 1,000 lives has been lost. You have burning down of schools, you have burning down of companies, and so on. These are the things which, if conflict prevention is actually done, then we will not face such calamities, or we will not face such problems. We talk of economic stability. If conflict prevention is done, then you will find the economic itself would be stable. Without the prevention of conflict, we wouldn't have a stable economic system, because everything will actually be used either in rebuilding the war-torn society, or in another case, it will actually disrupt the economy and prevent investments from coming into our community or in our region. We'll take a case in the DRC. You discover this has been a country that has been torn with conflict because of the rich resources or the blessings of the resources in this country. But it takes, just like the previous speaker said, a good governance structure to actually appropriate these resources and make sure it gets to everybody right at the bottom level. Without this, it would not be easy for us to live in a society that is free of conflict. We talk of political stability. Most of the times, our governance structures, they sound weak, or they look very weak. One of the famous writer, Francis Fukuyama, discussed this in one of his works, and he said, with the presence of weak states, it is not easy, or it is not possible to stop conflict, because the institutions that are available to ensure that peace can actually reign within us, to ensure that the community can actually live in harmony, are not in place. And because of this, we have rent seekers who always want to make sure that greed overflows to a different level. We go even to our normal level today, or our level between one another, because conflict has to do with different groups. It can be interpersonal, it can be intergroup, it can be international. And at every stage, there needs to be an ensurement that conflict can be prevented at each of this level. Be it in a group, in a political party, you can find people fighting. In a personal relationship with another, you can find them fighting. Even in the same political party, you can find those whose ideas do not tie. And so they will not rather come to an agreement. They rather want to take extreme positions. And when this happens, there is always an escalation of conflict. So in a nutshell, when we talk of conflict prevention, we are not saying that there will be no, maybe interruption of compatible goals, but rather we are seeing that in conflict prevention, we don't want things to escalate to a level where we need to start bringing in or spending on how to bring back peace, like we find in our Anglophone community today. So I'll talk on the strategies that can be used to do conflict prevention. So one of the strategies has to do with monitoring and reporting. You know, in today's world, we have a lot of things or a lot of tools that technology has actually made available for us. And getting to use these tools is actually what will make us to prevent conflict in our society. It will help us to prevent certain situations from taking a different turn as far as our societies are concerned. So the first thing has to do with dialogue and mediation. Now, in our society, we'll find most youths trying to express their ability to be able to maybe win over something. But in a situation where we have a good dialogue team and a good mediation team, they will be able to prevent conflict from escalating or tensions from escalating. We will always have conflict in our midst, but with good teams that propose dialogue, that propose mediation, it is able to prevent the escalations of such things. We talk of early warning signs, especially in our community. There are indicators such as political tensions, social unrest, economic downturns. These are early warning signs to conflict escalation, which if they are, we are good at looking at these signs, we'll be able to prevent conflict from escalating. So we cannot overemphasize, because conflict prevention is really necessary in our society, especially in our African context, where we have structural violence at a very high rate. No employment, lack of jobs, graduates with nothing to do, and so on. And so if these early warning signs can actually be studied, it is able to prevent conflict from escalating. Remember, I said we cannot really maybe resolve all conflicts, but we can actually prevent these conflicts from escalating. One more point as far as strategies of preventing conflict is concerned, we talk of capacity building and education. I want to say, conflict prevention or conflict studies as a whole was not something that was really looked at in Africa or was a major discipline. But if today we have been privileged to have it as a discipline in our community, in our society, where you have capacity buildings and so on, then these trainings need to be taken into practice. We don't just end at the level of educating, but just like the first speaker said, we put into practice this such that youths are able to actually practicalize this, because without practicalizing this, youths will not be able to settle their disputes or their problems peacefully. A peaceful mediation will go with someone who knows or has an idea when it comes to peace building. And this can only be done through this capacity building and education, where youths will be taught on negotiation skills, on mediation, and non-violent communication. Because there is a way you speak to someone that can actually provoke the person instead of bringing peace when you find yourself maybe in a quarrel. But communicating in a proper way, communicating or dialoguing, doing negotiations properly will actually influence the other person, and the tensions may reduce and will actually reduce the conflict from escalating. And lastly, we'll talk about strengthening our institutions. In Africa as a whole, when I look at the Western system, you see a lot of, or you look at their institutions, they are so structured and strengthened that it is almost not possible to go against the institutions or the structures that have been put in place. You find out if they say the president is supposed to rule for this number of years, immediately the term reach, the president needs to step down. But in Africa as a whole, we find very weak institutions. And this can be seen even in local Jangi houses that we have. Somebody is made a president and wants to take over it and continue, which these are not attitudes that will prevent conflict, because it will always go to aggravate situations, because people are inherently born with this conflict nature. And at most or every time, this conflict nature has to be suppressed or reduced such that it does not escalate. So the intersection, I'll be talking on how conflict and the media relate. So preventing conflict is ensuring that we have a sustainable development method. What is this? Africa is made up of, or Africa is blessed with a lot of natural resources. And you find out that in most of these countries or most of these places where you find these natural resources, the people who are actually the locals, they don't even benefit from that. And you find others benefiting from this. But if a program can be put where such things sustain everybody, or the benefits of exploiting such resources can cut across to everybody, it will actually reduce the tensions of conflicts, not to escalate. We talk of the media. The media should be used in educating youths about this conflict. I want to believe that even as we speak, conflict studies need to be incorporated in our curriculum such that even in our primary schools, people start having the idea of resolving conflict, and that it is not necessarily standing on a particular position for long. Oh, this must be met, this must be met, but rather that we can actually prevent these conflicts by coming to a compromise, by strengthening the systems that we have, by building what we need. And so I'll conclude by saying, conflict prevention is not just about avoiding violence, but about creating a condition for lasting peace and development by understanding the causes and the consequences of conflict. We can better appreciate the importance of preventing it. So if you can actually understand the causes of conflict, we can actually prevent them from coming. So just like the other speaker said, we have our political systems, we have our resource system, we have the social system that we have, and all these are levels where conflict can arise. So if youths can actually be taught on how they can manage conflicts from their individual level, I think it can overflow even to our bigger systems, and conflict can actually be prevented from escalating. I go by, there's this famous quote in the Bible. It says, little foxes, they spoil the vine. So we can actually start by mending our own characters, our own habits, as far as conflict is concerned. Just a conflict between you and your brother, maybe in your house. If you're able to manage that conflict at that stage, then I believe if we can all practice that, then it can overflow even to a bigger system, and why not the country as a whole? And if we all do that, conflict will be prevented to the best of my knowledge. Thank you, Mr. President, Moderator, and the rest at this point.
Now from there, who is the last but not the least, Mrs. Clarice Eyenga. So Clarisse Eyenga is a master's student in conflict resolution at the University of Buea in Cameroon. She's a multifaceted, ground-driven, highly analytical with broad-ranging skills on knowledge on issues of peace, security, development, and child protection. Interning at the Ministry of External Relations, where she worked in the Commonwealth Department, has provided her with invaluable insight into the diplomatic efforts and international relations involved in building peace. Also, interning with Defy Hate Now Cameroon as a peace research helped her covers research and teaching on the causes of violence, including war and the conditions of peace. So, Mrs. Clarisse Eyenga, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you to the team for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Samuel, for choosing me to be one of the speakers. I'm greatly honored. Okay, because of time, I'll just dive right into what I have to say. Can everybody hear me, please?
Yes, clearly.
Okay. I'll be talking on the approaches to conflict resolution, including the importance of digital media.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So I'll start with approaches to conflict resolution. Talking about conflict, it is worth noting that conflicts are inevitable in every society. Yet, peace is a much longed for commodity. We cannot accommodate. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you.
All right.
we can hear you.
Okay. We cannot accommodate something as a problem which we cannot completely run away from. Therefore, our approach or approaches to managing conflict will determine its constructiveness or destructiveness. What is conflict resolution? Conflict resolution is a process of solving disputes or disagreement between individuals, groups, organizations, and even a state in a respectful and constructive manner. In order to resolve conflict, there are some skills that a conflict expert is expected to have, or a mediator. Some of these skills include effective communication, empathy and understanding, problem-solving skills, flexibility and adaptability, respect and open-mindedness. There are countless approaches to resolving conflict because each conflict is unique and resolution requires adaptability, persistence, and flexibility. But I'll highlight just 5 of them for the sake of time. The first approach to conflict resolution is understanding the source of the conflict. Understanding or identifying the source of the conflict is the first approach in every conflict, be it an intrastate and intergroup, whichever conflict you find yourself resolving. The first thing is you identify the source, or you understand the source of the conflict. Whether a conflict arises from social media or an organization, it is very important and crucial to identify the source of the conflict. It could be caused by differences in values, interests, perceptions, misinformation, disinformation, power imbalance, just like we have the Anglophone crisis, and then also lack of resources. Those are some of the sources of conflict which we can identify in order to help us resolve it better. Secondly, we have effective communication. When talking of conflict resolution, it is worth stating to the parties, you as a mediator or a conflict expert should state to each party that they need to communicate clearly. And you as a mediator or the expert, you should observe facial language, facial appearance, sign language. Then you have to talk calmly in a calm tone. Don't avoid interrupting the parties when they are talking, because you might interrupt a conflicting parties, and then when he or she begins talking again, the energy is no more. So that falls under effective communication. Also, we have establishing common goals. That is the third, establishing common grounds. It is crucial for conflict resolution. Hello, can everyone get me, please?
Just go
Yes.
ahead. We're listening to you.
Yes, we can.
Okay, the third approach to conflict resolution is establishing common ground. Establishing common grounds is crucial for conflict resolution as it helps both parties feel understood and valued. You need to focus on what exactly the conflicting parties want to achieve. Example, in a family conflict, maybe what they want to achieve is harmony. So you should be able to find a mutual interest in what the conflicting parties want. That is what establishing common ground means. Then the fourth point, we have setting boundaries. In as much as we want to resolve a conflict, it is crucial that you set boundaries. The other party doesn't use vocal language on the other party. You don't expect to want to solve the Cameroon crisis like we have. You go to the Bamenda people and then you're saying the Bamenda people, English doesn't make sense. You say something to provoke them. It doesn't work like that. You have to respect their values. You have to respect what they hold dearly in order for the conflict to be respected, to be resolved. You did not go there to escalate. You went there to resolve the conflict. So you have to respect the values that they hold dear. And I believe that before you go to an area to resolve conflict, you must have studied how it is, what they hold dear to their culture, such as their culture, their values, or their beliefs. Lastly, we have review and follow up. A conflict expert or a mediator is advised to summarize the agreement made by both parties, or to summarize the agreement taken at the end of the resolution, to be clear that what he has heard is what he is passing on. What the parties have said is what he's repeating, to be sure that he understood what their mutual interest was and the agreement they have taken, to be certain that each and everyone has understood. That's what follow-up is all about. And then you can equally set out clear actions to be taken. Conflict resolution is a process. You move from one stage to the other. So there are actions which you set out for each conflicting party to abide to. And in some cases, there is a time frame in which these actions have to be taken. So after all of this is done, you can schedule a follow-up meeting to make sure that the conflict was properly resolved, or if it was not resolved, if it was properly resolved, how well was it resolved? Was it 100% resolved? Was it 80%? Where did you go wrong? Where did you go right? What did you do that was? So this is what follow-up is all about. And if possible, you celebrate successes, such as in a family conflict where their mutual interest is harmony. If they should come to a compromise, then it's but obvious that they should celebrate. Okay, to conclude, conflict is a real problem affecting real people in real places. It is not, we do not just talk about it. It is happening. People are dying, properties are being destroyed, and a lot is going on. The aforementioned approaches of conflict, which I've mentioned, are very crucial to ensure that the agreed upon solutions are implemented and that the parties maintain their relationship. It means in everything you're doing as a conflict expert, as a mediator, wherever you find yourself, it should be a win-win solution. It should not be a win-lose or a lose-lose solution. It should be a win-win solution. Though conflict cannot be completely resolved, it can only be managed or sometimes transformed. It is difficult to resolve conflict. So in whatever case you find yourself, at least make sure that it is a win-win it is a win-win solution. So immediately, I will dive into the importance of digital media. Please, for any questions you ask at the end of the session, please. Social media has a profound impact on modern society with both positive and negative effects. Importance of digital media. Digital media refers to content that is created, shared, and consumed through digital platforms such as the internet, social media, mobile devices, video games, digital advertisement, and others. The importance of digital media to youths. Digital media to youth has a profound impact on modern society with both positive and negative effects. By acknowledging both the benefits and drawbacks, we can harness the potentials of social media while mitigating its negative consequences. The first important of digital media to youth is connectivity and socialization. Digital media has enabled youth to connect with their peers, friends, family across the globe, fostering social civilization and community building. All of us can attest to this. It has brought far people closer. Secondly, we have access to information. Like Mr. Samuel said, you go online and you find anything you want to find. All the information is online. We even have courses. You can take courses online. There is a lot you can do online. You can go to YouTube and learn whatever skill you want to learn without necessarily attending a physical training. Everything is online. So that is the advantage of social media to youth. We have self-expression and creativity. Digital media also offers platforms for youth to express themselves, such as LinkedIn. If you go to LinkedIn, you're able to hire, you're able to get a job. I have a lot of people who have gotten jobs through LinkedIn. So if you use LinkedIn in the right way, and how do you use it in the right way? By creating your niche. You shouldn't be talking about psychology in your profile and then you're posting content that has to do with peace, or you're talking about peace and you're creating content that has to do with marketing. So your profile should match your content so that in the case where you're being sought online, they should identify you and this person can do this. So that is an important of digital media. Also, we have entertainment, like we all know, film, games. There are a lot of leisure things we can equally do online. Watch memes. The fourth point is civic engagement. Digital media enable youth to engage in civic activities such as activism, advocacy, community organizing, and even webinars such as this. And then we also have skill development, such as critical thinking. All of this can be learned through social media. Lastly, we have personal branding. Personal branding apps such as Canvas, Adobe, Telebrands, and others. You can use those to do designs for yourself. You must not necessarily go and pay a graphic designer. You can go to those apps, learn how to use them, design a flyer, design something. I mean, digital media gives us jobs. It makes us self-employed because if you're able to do all of this, somebody will contact you and say, please do this for me, do this for me. I know of people who are paid for them to create pages, and they learned it through digital media. So digital media has a lot of importance. We cannot list them all for the sake of time. But by being mindful and using digital media responsibly, we, the youths, can harness its potentials to enhance our lives and shape the future better. Thank you so much. I'll end here.
Okay, thank you, Clarice. Thank you for your presentation. We have 15 minutes left. So I suggest to give back the floor to Samuel and to use the last 10 minutes of this session for the Q&A session. These are questions and answer. So to Samuel to speak, I would say in 3 minutes, I'm sorry, Samuel, about how youth should make good use of social media.
Yeah, that was Mogi. You know, I just want to say, as young people that we are, the first thing about making use of social media is knowing what you want. Why are you going to social media? That's the first thing. The first thing you have to do is that choose the social media handles which will meet your expectation on what you want. So the first thing, choose the social media handles which you want or you want to use. Secondly, develop a good profile on your social media handle you have chosen for yourself, which is to market yourself, to attract like minds. The next thing is follow people on social media and institutions, platforms that are doing things that you are having interest in it. Through that, you'll be able to see more opportunities, get more mentorship, and also update the world about yourself. So the first thing, choose the platform, build your profile on the platform, connect with people who are doing things that you want to learn or doing things that you are doing. That is the secret on social media platform. But make sure you must be able to make sure you share informations that are relevant. It could be articles, it could be posts that are informing and educating the public. Whatever you do, ensure that it's educating or informing the public. That is how you build track, followers, credibility, and access to opportunity to speak, to showcase, and to share experience. If you check on me, you'll be able to see at least 7,000 plus in different social handles. That just to show you that if you check my profile, you fall in love with me and you become my friend the next day. Thank you once more. Hand up. Do you want me to respond to this or maybe later on?
We have the question and answer session after Samuel. So did you see any question? I don't know, because I can't see a question in the chat.
No, it's fine. If the person want to say something, the person can just say it at the end, when you start.
Okay, yeah, at the end, yes, exactly. So now I will give the floor, I will get to present you the project and how they can get involved. Is Amel there?
Yes, I'm there. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Amel, you have, let's say, 3 minutes also.
Thank you once more, Guy, for giving. I'm going to quickly talk about the contribution of youth, Cameroonian youth to peace building process. I will, since the time is running, I will not present with Cameroon anymore, but I can share the presentation or other information to review to have a clear idea of with Cameroon. With Cameroon was set up in 2014, yes, and this year we celebrate our 10th year. One of our main, we work on 5 programs: women, peace and security, disarmament, human rights, young with crisis response, and environment. And the Young Youth program is our main program because we think that the young generation is critical for us if we want to have sustainable results to our work. So with Young With, I started working in Cameroon in 2000 and Guy, can I follow your? Okay. The Young With initiative was born from with observation. No, you are going so fast, Guy.
Just speak. I just what is happening. You cannot follow them.
Okay, our work in peace building process is guided by 2 main tools voted by the United Nations Security Council, the 1325 and the 2015 2250 United Security Council. The 1925 Women, Peace and Security on the 31st, after acknowledging that disproportionate and unique impact of armed conflict on women and girls. Though the adoption of the resolution 2050 on the 9th December 2015, the Council also urged member states to consider setting up mechanisms that would enable young people to participate meaningfully in peace process and dispute resolution. With vision, what are the main implications?
We cannot hear Amel. Maybe we stop and give the floor to to others who have better sound. Maybe they can speak. Eve, are you there?
We are back. I'm back.
I don't know if you can hear Armel.
No, it was not. We're not hearing.
Yeah, okay, I think Armel's back.
Yes. Can I continue, please? Please, if can I continue?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. I will move quickly to example of young men's involvement in peace building in Cameroon. We have our national caravan in 2016. When Cameroon organized a caravan to talk to the youth and exhort them to ally with the elder to stop.
If I would suggest that we give the floor to those who have raised their hands so that they can give their contributions and ask questions if they have.
Hello? It's fine. Let's do so.
Okay. So we have 3 people with hands. We have Lenore, we have Taye, and we had another hands. Maybe you should give them the floor for them to speak. We also have Dara, yes.
Okay, so I will start maybe the first on my screen. I will say Lenore Sanders.
Yes, can I be heard okay?
Yes, it's okay.
Wonderful. First, let me thank you all for this very, very informative meeting. I put something in the chat with my email just to announce that on a weekly basis for more than a year now, I have been a participant and a bit of an organizer of the International Peace Coalition, which is now bringing in upwards to 500 people from as many so far as 50 nations around the world. We are not in a large or well-funded at all organization, but we are a collection of people who want peace, who want, and we're particularly facing right now, as many people might know, as I think one of the speakers mentioned, that once there is conflict in a particular region, this can spread into a greater conflict throughout the world. And unfortunately, that's what we're facing right now. The West, which is basically losing all of its power, is in a desperate state of mind to push forward World War III. And this is the sad reality during a period of time when we have so much opportunity for peace and development, particularly coming out of the BRICS initiative, which started in 2013 and now has expanded into a Belt and Road initiative, which is also, I don't know about Cameroon, and I would love to know, but there are nations in the African continent which are asking to be part of this, and some of them have already started to be able to move their populations away from poverty through advanced science and education. So I want to invite everybody. I'm really moved by the commitment of all of the speakers, and I would love to know more about your nation. I think that friendship, as I think it was the last speaker that we could hear, friendship really does come from an interest and a study of other peoples, other nations. I think that if we can bring forth the highest level of culture, of beauty from every nation, and this is part of what I do through the Schiller Institute, which founded the International Peace Coalition. I think that if peoples across the world will embrace other nations and other peoples and will adopt a nation, and I would like to begin a study of your nation to see whether I can become a parent of that nation. Anyway, that's really all I wanted to say. My email is in the chat. I can give it out loud here. It's L, S like Sam, A, N, D, A-R-T, but the organizers have my email, and it's at Gmail. Our International Peace Coalition meetings are on Fridays. I believe it would be every Friday. I believe it would be at 4 o'clock your time. I'm here in West Virginia in the United States, where there's tremendous poverty, by the way. Right now it is 11:30 my time, so maybe it can be calculated. But once again, thank you so much. We have got to build rapidly a better world for the youth, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Leno. Thank you for your comments. So I'll give the floor now to Tai for his or her question. Tai, can you hear us?
Can you hear me? Yeah, good afternoon here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Tai.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm actually coming in from Nigeria. Sorry, I came in so late. I had some other commitments. I want to really appreciate the convenience of this initiative. It's quite laudable. I'm a peace building professional. I work with Mercy Corps Nigeria on the USAID-funded project. And talking about the youth, I want to also commend the speakers. Thank you. You're actually hitting the nails on the head. If you look at most of the conflicts today globally, let me say in Africa, there are two issues about it that actually create this conflict. You talk about identity and resource-based conflict. How and who are the actors in this? These are the youths. And how are they actually influenced into this? Through the social media. So I think for me, let's expand this beyond Cameroon. Let's have a coalition of Africa, because the demand for stability is becoming higher by the day, and the demand for those resources are becoming higher by the day. What can we do? And these are one of the steps. And lastly, I just want to say, not to take time because of other speakers, we need to begin to preach to the youth the implications of violence and war. Because a lot of them will tell you, let's go and fight them, let's destroy. It takes you a whole lot of funds to restore whatever you destroy. So I think part of our message should be like, okay, let's go back and let them know, if you do this, this is what will happen. But let's build their capacity on advocacy, consultations, town hall, how to approach the leaders. I think when we begin to do that, they will see it more. And for the journalists, honestly, most of the conflicts you find around in Africa are actually influenced through the media. Very false narratives, and before you know it, it's spread across. People start attacking innocent people. So I just hope we can keep this burning. I'm here to give my support whenever it's needed. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tai. Thank you for your contribution. So, and now we have Dara. We are going to hear from Dara. Hello, Dara. Okay,
hello,
yeah,
hello?
we can hear you, Dara.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Dara.
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
I'm Sheikh Amitijan Dara. I'm come from Mali. I'm not going to be long because I'm French speaker. I had two questions, but the last one was taken care of by the last speaker. So my second question is the government's effort in terms of involvements and regulation for the consolidation of digital peace in terms of laws and institutional instruments in the Cameroon. All right. Thank you.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had but one question. I had a question about the government effort in regulating the how the government handled the hate speech. I think it was the question, the first question, but the second question, I couldn't get what he said. Dara, are you still with us? Please, can you repeat the second question?
The Cameroon government effort in terms of regulation and involvement in the consolidation of peace in Cameroon. All right.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Actually, no.
Okay, I think Ame is not with us anymore.
Okay, Dara, please, can you repeat your question for Clarice? Maybe I would suggest that the speakers use like maybe 1 minute to say final words. Maybe by the way, they will address the question about the efforts of the government to regulate digital speech in Cameroon. I would suggest that
yes,
maybe,
Guy.
okay.
Yes, Guy, sorry, I was completely got. I used the if mic to try to answer. I was saying that the Cameroonian adopt a law. In 24th of December 2019, the law is about the penalization of hate speech and any type of crime, yes, committed through social media. The law is 3 pages. Maybe I will share with Guy or Eve so he can share with other what they are the measure taken by the government to penalize this. In Cameroon already, you know that if you use social media, yes, to commit or to promote hate speech, yes, you are going to be punished by the law, and the sanction are financial. You can be punished to pay a certain amount, or you can go to jail. It depends on the degree, or yes, of the act you are perpetrated. So Cameroon has already taken measure for that. Apart from that, many initiative. We have the National Commission on Multiculturalism and Bilingualism. Yes, the mandate is also to work on work hate speech and to be penalized. And many other civil society are working on the issue of on the question of hate speech. So for us in Cameroon, is a key issue, and provision has been already taken so far to penalize those who are going to still perpetrate hate speech. That's what I can share. I can share with you. That's the answer I can give to the question of my fellow colleague.
So thank you, Amel. Maybe like Guy suggested earlier, can we do a round table? Maybe does someone have something to say, to add, any comment, any question? Okay, since no one is taking the floor, maybe I would just thank everyone. I want to first apologize again for not starting at time because of connection. So the beginning was really difficult. So
I think there's a hand up. There's a hand up. Please just check it out. The International Center for Community Peace want to say something, please.
Yes, thank you very much. I just want to applaud the organizers and all the speakers. Although network did not allow me to join early, and it was also going on and off. But what I had, is really commendable. Thank you very much. Really appreciate, and I look forward to opportunity for further engagements and discussions. Thank you very much. I'm Pastor Adi from Nigeria.
Okay, Pastor Ade, thank you so much. Thank you for your comments.
Yes, Eve, please conclude and maybe give
Okay, thank you.
1 minute to the speaker to say final words and conclude.
I didn't get you. What did you just say?
I would suggest to give 1 minute to each of the speakers to say final remarks and then we conclude.
Okay. Maybe I will start with Clarice. Clarice, you have 1 minute. Maybe you want to add any comments.
Okay, thank you so much again. I want to say learning is a process because we have spoken doesn't mean we know it all. So I'll be glad if I can also learn from you, just like you've learned from me. So I am open for connections and anything that will help me learn more, that will help me increase my learning, so that I also help my community and all those who are looking up to me like a role model. Thank you so much for this opportunity again.
Okay, thank you, Clarice. Samuel? Is Samuel still with us?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay, so I just want to thank you all, our brothers from DRC, Nigeria, those in Cameroon, from the US, and wherever you were, joining us. I really want to thank you for taking our time and to say that we remain a family that through our lifestyle and our actions, let peace be reflective of our engagement, and so you can check me out on social media. Just Google the name Buchum Samuel Bache. I think it's clearly written there, Buchum Samuel. You can get me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on YouTube also. We can connect, share numbers, and we'll see how we can keep learning and getting our community improved. So thank you once more, and may the peace of the Lord be with you always. Thank you.
Thank you, Samuel. Thank you so much. Armel?
Thank you, Eve, for giving me the floor for this closing remark. I first of all want to thank the convener of this webinar. It was very fruitful, though I couldn't participate. I couldn't follow all the meeting because of internet shortage, but the outcome of this workshop, of the webinar, are going to be used to involve more youth in the peace building process. I was able today to gather more information, which are going to be shared with our network of youth leaders on peace, so that they will be able to work closely to promote peace toward the forthcoming election. Thanks to all the participants, thanks to the convener, and which will give. I hope we will convene another webinar very soon, so that we are going to evaluate the process so far. Thanks.
Thank you, Armel. Is Luis still with us? Okay, maybe Luis is not more connected.
Okay, I think I'm
okay, go ahead, Luis.
All right, I really want to say I'm grateful for the privilege to share the little I know, and I'm open to learning. And I think the responsibility of building a better world is resting on our shoulders, and we all have to take what is necessary, the government, the civil society, and even our individual levels, to see that we build a world not just for us, but even for those who come after us. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you, Luis. So I want to thank you all for your participation and your enriching contribution. A special thanks to Guy for taking care of the technical side. And let's say we'll stay connected, as Samuel said. So thanks again once more, and goodbye.
Okay, goodbye, everyone. We'll share the recording of the webinar. It was not the best one in terms of internet and connectivity. but we hope we have a better one next time. But at least we'll share the recording and the PowerPoint presentation that we could not show online during this call. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for attending. We have over 140 people who registered showing interest in this topic. We will need to have another convening to go in, have more time to speak and discuss about youth opportunities, how to make good use of social media, digital media to prevent conflicts in our context. Thank you so much, and looking forward to meeting you in our World Beyond World platforms. Bye.
Guy, before we go, are you still there?
Yes, please.
If you don't mind, they can turn on their camera, those who wish, then we can now take a picture of those who are still present. Maybe a picture.
Yes, why not?
Yeah, so those who they can maybe turn on their camera, just for.
Yeah. If you can turn on your camera, you can have a picture. That would be nice.
Allô, Monsieur Guy.
Yes.
Allô, Guy.
Oui,
je suis très content vraiment de participer dans cette session. Malheureusement, la connexion n'était pas tellement bonne, mais je pense que prochainement, la connexion sera bonne.
From Nigeria.
Okay. Leo from Democratic Republic of Congo.
Oh, good to see your face.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Good. Okay. Goodbye, everyone.
So goodbye, everybody. Have a great week ahead. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.